Most lonely people try just to survive being single during the holidays. And that's a mistake, because December quietly creates the best conditions all year for real connections. And almost no one knows how to use it. And by the end of this video, you will.
This is inside the being mind.
Modern dating is a mess, and most dating advice is actually garbage. And my mission is fix it and end loneliness for millions. I am Dr. Axel Schumacher, scientist, entrepreneur, and the guy who studied dating more obsessively than anyone on this planet before, combining biology, psychology, and the secrets of history's greatest lovers. I only teach what works. So welcome to the show. With me is Aria, my co-host, and she keeps the facts straight and the bad advice out.
Sending you holiday cheer by the sleighful, cookies by the dozen, and enough cozy vibes to keep you warm until spring decides to show up.
In December. And you know what's coming? You open your phone, scroll for maybe 5 seconds, and suddenly you are witnessing an avalanche of couples. So matching sweaters, engagement photos, beneath a twinkling Christmas tree, captions celebrating our first holiday together. And if you're single right now, what rises up inside you probably isn't simple envy. It's not even ordinary sadness. For so many of us, it lands more like a quiet judgment, as though the universe itself is whispering that you have somehow fallen behind, that you are not keeping pace with everyone else's life. So, why the holidays can feel so heavy when you are single, and how that heaviness, that vulnerability can actually become your greatest asset. So the aim here isn't just to get through the season and survive till January. It's to recognize that the holidays, for all their uncomfortable intensity, create natural moments of genuine connection. So not through dating apps, certainly not. Not by forcing yourself to be cheerful when you are not. That doesn't work. And not by pretending this doesn't touch you, but by showing up as you are in spaces where real human contact still happens.
So basically, we're turning holiday suffering into holiday strategy. Except without turning you into some weird social optimization robot. We're keeping it real.
Exactly. And here is what's actually fascinating. Once you understand the specific mechanism driving these feelings, what's happening in your brain with your body reacting the way it does, the whole experience stops feeling like some mysterious emotional curse. It becomes something you can actually work with. The intensity doesn't disappear, I understand that, but you are no longer at its mercy. So, why holiday feels so rigged against singles? Modern holidays are, structurally harder for single people than most of us want to admit. Families usually organize dinners around couples, so traditions assume you are being someone. Social gatherings quietly become couple-centered. And if you show up alone, there's this, this subtle sense that something is missing. Not from the event, but from you. Yeah. Then you add social media, which essentially adds curated intimacy directly into your brain every single time you unlock your phone. So the combined effect that is being single in December stops feeling like a normal life circumstance and starts feeling like you are somehow outside the circle. So watching everyone else doing their life thing you are supposed to have. But here's what really matters. This isn't evidence that something broken in you. What you are experiencing is a predictable response to a context specifically designed to highlight what you don't have. And that response, so that pain, follows recognizable patterns, which means we can actually do something about it. Mechanism 1. Social comparison. That becomes concentrated and algorithmic. The first mechanism is social comparison on steroids. So in normal months, the comparison exists in the background, but now in December, it becomes concentrated. And the problem is only that people post more couple content. The problem is also that algorithms tend to amplify it because it performs well. Obviously, it does. And it performs well because it provokes emotion. This longing, nostalgia, admiration, and even envy. Your brain then makes a quite predictable mistake. It confuses what is highly visible with what is highly common. In other words, it starts to feel like everyone is coupled except me. Damn it! Even though that's not reality. It's a selection effect. And once you see that, you can stop treating the emotional response as evidence that your life is failing and instead recognize it for what it is. A mind reacting to an unusually biased information stream.
The feed isn't reality. It's a highlight reel engineered to grab your attention. And your brain treats it like a documentary of how everyone else is living. Except it's not. It's performance.
Yes, it is. And the moment you stop treating the feed as evidence of anything real, you get your oxygen back. Honestly, look, if there's one move that changes everything, it's this. Go off social media for December. Just go off. Just delete the apps. You can reinstall them later in January, and if you want. But give yourself 1 month where you're not constantly being shown what you don't have. Please, really, try it out. Mechanism 2. Relationships as achievement. You know this, okay? The second mechanism is what I call the relationship as achievement trap. December does this really weird thing where it turns your life into a report card. You start running through the year, career, health, money, relationships, as if having a partner were some kind of annual performance metric. You either hit or missed. And that's why when someone at a family dinner asks, so are you seeing someone? It doesn't feel like an innocent curiosity, like it always feels like an audit. Of course it does. But here's the thing. Relationships don't operate on fiscal calendars. Forget about this. Love doesn't show up because you have decided December is a deadline month and it's time to check the box. When you treat partnership like a quarterly goal you're supposed to hit, you're not just setting yourself up for disappointment, you are manufacturing shame. And shame is the absolute worst fuel for connection because it makes you hide. You start covering up this messy, uncertain, actually interesting part of yourself. The exact parts someone might actually want to get close to. That's why it's so important not to stay inside during the holiday season, but to get out. Mechanism 3. The third mechanism is nostalgia amplification. So winter shifts everything, your daily rhythms, your light exposure, your sleep patterns, and suddenly the entire environment becomes saturated with memory triggers. Now that's the music, scents, decorations, traditions. So your brain tags emotional memories with context. And when that context comes back around, the memory doesn't just return, it becomes vivid. And often way more vivid than it actually deserves to be. And this is why you can suddenly miss an ex with shocking intensity in December, even when the relationship was objectively terrible to you. And here's what's actually happening. In most cases, you are not missing the person, you are missing the ritual. You think back to last year you were with someone, the sense of belonging, the comforting predictability of how things used to feel. And during this specific time of the year. And recognizing that distinction changes everything because it lets you respond with clarity instead of just reacting to impulse.
So the ache isn't telling you to go back to that person. It's telling you that your system is craving warmth, familiarity, connection. It's just pointing at the wrong source.
Right. And once you stop treating that craving like some kind of cosmic sign, that you are meant to be together, you can actually do something useful with it. The need is real, yes, but the target is wrong. Now, for the part most people completely miss. The holidays aren't just some trigger season. There's more in them. They're also an unusually high opportunity season because they create 3 conditions that almost never happen at the same time. And this is really great. First, there's social density. So more gatherings, reunions, mixed age events, spontaneous group hangouts. So people are actually out in the world instead of isolated in their usual routines. Use that opportunity. Second, there's weak tie activation. So friends of friends, old colleagues, people you haven't seen in years, social circles that normally never touch. They suddenly collide. So your network expands without you even trying. Third, there's lowered defensiveness. So what I mean with that, so people are reflective during this time of the year. People are more open, a little nostalgic, less performative than they are the rest of the year. So the walls come down slightly. And here's why this matters. These 3 conditions together create the exact environment you need for organic connection. Because most meaningful relationships don't come from swiping right on a complete stranger. They come from people who are 1 degree away, what sociologists call weak ties. So the holidays hand you access to exactly those people.
Right. So your best friend knows everything about your life, but their network basically overlaps with yours. No new faces. Weak ties are where the novelty actually comes from.
Yeah. And the holidays are basically the Olympics of weak ties. Social bubbles that stay separate all year long suddenly merge. So you're in rooms with people you never had otherwise met. And they're showing up in a context where connections actually feels natural instead of forced. So, let's make this actionable. Step 1. Map your social landscape. Between now and New Year, write down every social event you're invited to or could reasonably attend. Look through the internet, find these events, including the ones you would normally dismiss without thinking. Holiday parties, alumni gatherings, Christmas markets, volunteer events, very important, neighborhood meetups, religious or spiritual gatherings, if you are in that stuff, workshop, classes, even mundane places like the grocery store during the peak evening hours, and when people are actually out. Go out, meet people. The point isn't to exhaust yourself with non-stop socializing. The point is to stop treating these moments as interruptions to your life and start seeing them as your actual playing field. Because unlike dating apps, these environments come pre-filtered by geography, shared communities, and shared context. You are not starting from zero with a stranger's profile. You are meeting people who already exist in overlapping worlds. And here's what most people forget. A lot of other singles are in the exact situation you are in. There are lots of them. They are looking for connection too. You might be surprised how much easier it actually is to get someone's attention during holiday season. So, step 2. Curate proximity, not prospects. Most people walk into social events asking themselves, how will I meet someone here? And that's not ideal. That question creates immediate tension. You are scanning the room, evaluating, and performing. That's really not good. You have to shift your mindset. Try a different question instead. Where do people actually linger long enough for familiarity to build naturally? Holiday leverage doesn't come from hunting for prospects. It comes from repeated exposure in these low-pressure environments. So, host or co-host a small gathering. Invite people. Maybe invite people for a spaghetti evening. Join a language exchange. Take cooking classes. You also learn something. Attend a winter workshop. Volunteer at a food bank. This is so amazing and you feel better. Believe me, I have tried. It works. Or just become the person who creates connection within a group. Basically the one who introduces people. Ask questions. Bring others into the conversation instead of waiting passively for something magical to happen to you. Really go out to events, even if they are not fitting 100%, and try to get to know people. Ask questions. It's so powerful. If you choose just 2 environments where you can show up twice, you have already dramatically shifted the odds in your favor. Because attraction doesn't usually happen at first sight, despite what all the movies and Disney tell you. It happens maybe at the 3rd or 4th exposure, when someone stops being a stranger and starts becoming familiar.
Now here's the critical part. None of this works if you just nod along and do nothing. Execution matters. Understanding the strategy is worth exactly 0 if you don't actually show up. So we've made this concrete for you. As usual, you'll find this homework in the description below. There's a free PDF with a clear to-do list for the holidays. Download it, use it, actually go.
Step 3. Step 3 is one of the highest return moves you can make, and most people never do it. Activate dormant weak ties. Choose 5 people you already know, ideally within your city, because you want to meet them eventually. So people you genuinely like, people who are stable, people you have just lost touch with over time, or who are not in your closest friendship bubble. Not exes, no, not chaotic situations, no friend zone situations. Avoid those ones. Nobody in the friend zone. Remember that. Not unfinished business you have been avoiding. No. Just decent humans you actually enjoyed being around. Send them a simple message with 0 agenda. Like, hey, the holidays made me think of you. How are you doing these days? That's it. This does something psychologically elegant. It reopens networks without any pressure. It creates natural opportunities for meetups, and it often leads to invitations and introductions you would have never get through cold approaches or dating apps. Because here's what people really miss. You are not just reconnecting with one person. You are reconnecting with their entire network, their whole galaxy of other people who are out there, their friends, their gatherings, their world. And that's where the real opportunity lives.
And because it's warm instead of performative, it's one of the few outreach messages that doesn't immediately trigger someone's defenses. People can smell an agenda from a mile away, but genuine warmth? That's disarming. It's also wildly underrated as a strategy because people confuse it with weakness. But warmth isn't weakness. It's actually a social superpower. It opens doors that no amount of clever positioning ever could.
Step 4. The 4th step is about how you show up. So don't arrive at these gatherings like you are hunting for something. That energy is obvious, so no matter how well you think you're hiding it, people recognize it. Instead, show up as someone who's genuinely interested in people, curious about their stories, attentive to what makes them come alive. And be curious not only about those people you see as potential romantic partner. Yeah? Do it with everyone, because someone you meet new may introduce you to someone else. So slow down a little. You don't need to fill every silence with your own accomplishments or cleverly rehearsed anecdotes. Yeah? Listen like you are actually discovering something valuable. And that's what you do. People are interesting if you just listen to them. Ask questions that invite people to open up. And during the Christmas time, they will open up. Yeah? Invite them to share what matters to them. Be the person who introduces strangers to each other with real warmth, who creates connections instead of waiting for it to happen to you. And when you do this, something shifts. You become someone people want to be around. Not because you are performing or impressing, but because you're creating space where others feel seen. And this is so important. That's magnetic. People are drawn to presence like that because it's rare. Yeah. You're offering something most people desperately want. Attention without agenda. Curiosity without judgment. Oh, this is so important. Leave your judgment at home. It's so important. You're reminding them they're interesting simply by treating them that way. Try it out. Step 5. The 5th step is where most people fumble. The invitation. So many let a great conversation end with nice meeting you, and then wonder why nothing happens. When you meet someone who genuinely interests you, build a bridge. Make it specific, make it easy, and keep it light. Try something like, hey, I have really enjoyed talking with you. Want to continue this over coffee sometime next week. Tell them, message them. Or, hey, I'm checking out the holiday market this Saturday afternoon. If you are around, come find me and we can walk through it together. Fun, easy. These aren't grand romantic gestures. They're simple, low-pressure invitations that honor the other person's freedom while clearly expressing your interest. It's not difficult. They say, I would like to know you better, and here's an easy way to make that happen. No obligation. Invitations like this rarely get turned down because they don't feel heavy. You're not asking someone to commit to a formal date or decode your intentions. You are just offering a chance to continue something that already feels good. And that's where real connection gets the space it needs to grow. So, I get common objections to this. For example, typical objection people have. What if I have no events and only a tiny social circle? Look, I get it. This is obviously a problem many single people face, especially if they move cities, if they're at a new place. I moved cities many times. I lived in 7 different countries and I had to rebuild social circles again and again. I understand it. I have been there myself. Small social circle, calendar empty, like feeling like everyone else is living in some vibrant social universe you can't access. I understand it. But here's the truth. If your social circle is small, the solution isn't to wait for something to magically change. Yeah? It's to deliberately create social surface area. So again, I remind you, the best thing you can do, for example, volunteer at a food bank, host something small, even just a casual dinner with 3 people. It's better than nothing. It's a start. Join structured activities where showing up alone is normal. Attend workshops. Go where people gather with a shared purpose. Look through the internet. There will be lots of parties, dinners, gatherings during the holiday seasons. Yeah, there will be. Even if you don't meet a romantic partner immediately, you are rebuilding the ecosystem through which partners actually arrive. And then maybe your romantic partner will show up in your new social circle next January or February or March. Yeah? And honestly, just having more human connections feels good, even when it's not romantic. Loneliness hurts. It really hurts. But connection heals, and start there.
No surface area means no collisions. And collisions are how life actually changes.
Another typical objection. What about excess texting during the holidays? Or people from my past who have kept me in the friend zone? Difficult topic, but it's nothing we can't find a solution to. The holiday season is really famous for resurrecting ghosts. Exes suddenly text. People who have kept you at arm's length for months now want to catch up. And because you're lonely and the holidays amplify everything, these messages can really feel like signs from the universe. But before you respond, ask yourself one honest question. Are you drawn to this specific person, or are you just drawn to the familiar feeling of being wanted? I really get it. I do. I was in the friend zone. Okay? Nostalgia is seductive, but it's not evidence that anything has changed. And if someone suddenly only reaches out when they are feeling sentimental or when their other options have dried up, that tells you something important about where you actually stand. Okay? If you do reconnect, move slowly, okay? Pay attention to their actions, not just their words. Don't confuse seasonal sentimentality with relational health. And if this is someone who's repeatedly put you into the friend zone, remember, people show you where you stand. They show it to you. Believe them the first time. Okay? Please do. If this season feels painful, that doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're human and you're paying attention. You're noticing what's missing, and that hurts. And it should hurt. This is a mechanism evolution put into our brains. It needs to hurt. But here's the twist. The holidays aren't just designed to make you feel like crap. They're also accidentally, weirdly, surprisingly, one of the best opportunities you will have all year to actually meet someone. The social environment is usually dense right now. Weak ties are everywhere. people are more open than usual. And unlike the rest of the year, when everyone's locked into their routines and the apps, December forces people into rooms together. Use it. That's your advantage. So, your job isn't to manufacture romance or force some fairy tale ending before midnight on New Year's Eve. Your job is actually pretty simple. Engineer context, yeah. Show up twice somewhere. Reactivate 5 dormant connections. Give yourself repeat exposure in warm, low-pressure environments. Yeah. Do that, and you have already done more than 95% of people who are just sitting at home complaining that nothing ever happens. Yeah.
And because we know you're probably not going to remember all of this while you're staring at your phone on a random Tuesday, Axel made you a PDF. It's clean, simple, not overwhelming, basically the checklist version of everything we just covered.
Yeah. It's called the Holiday Reset Protocol, and it's linked in the description. So download it, print it if that's your thing, use it. Because, honestly, understanding the strategy is worthless if you don't actually show up. So go meet people, be interesting and interested. And maybe, just maybe, you will surprise yourself. Huh? So, see you in the next episode.
This is Inside the Teen Mind. This is Inside the Teen Mind.
All right. The podcast is over, yeah? Class dismissed. Close the app, yeah? Stand up and put real pants on, yeah?
Additional listening will produce diminishing returns. Your species requires face-to-face interaction to bond. So go, mingle, flirt responsibly.
We'll be here when you get back.